Hi everyone and welcome to your new topic of HTML. Throughout our S3 HTML topic, what we're going to do is recap all of the basics that we need to know for web development. So a lot of the stuff that we covered in S2, we're going to cover that again, just in a wee bit more depth in S3. And we're also going to learn how to create more complex websites. Okay, so we're going to learn a lot of new constructs and different ways we can make our website a lot more engaging and exciting. So the first thing that we're going to look at is just kind of a quick overview of what we need to know for HTML. So lesson 1 is going to be our HTML recap with a real focus on the tags that we use. So hopefully by the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to describe the purpose of HTML and what HTML stands for. We'll be able to list the different tags used in HTML and also identify various website titles. Okay, so I'll explain what the title of a website is later on in this lesson. So first off, what is HTML? So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's the language that allows us to mark up or make hypertext documents, and these hypertext documents are our web pages that we make. So every web page on the internet is a hypertext document and each follows the HTML rules. Web browsers software such as Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome are used to view these hypertext documents. So any browser that you use to view a website or a web page, this is what we're talking about here. So the browsers take these HTML documents and display them, and that's when you see your website. So each HTML document is created using tags. A tag is a piece of text that tells a web browser to display something in a particular way. And the way the tags work is they are just certain words, but they're actually HTML code. Okay, so we're going to have a look at tags as well. This is going to be one of your first tasks, is filling out the tag matrix. We'll have seen a basic version in S2, but I've created a new one for S3 with all of the tags that we need to know. So HTML tags are the hidden keywords within a web page that define how your web browser must format and display the content. So everything that you see on a web page hasn't just randomly appeared. Whoever has created the HTML document has written tags that will define where each part of the website content is to be displayed. Most tags must have two parts, which is an opening and a closing part. So for example, when we start a brand new HTML document, we must open the tag with the small arrow that points to the left. Okay, so like the less than symbol is how I refer to it. We open the less than symbol and write HTML, and then we close that, okay, with the more than symbol. So that's the opening tag for HTML documents. Once we've then filled the HTML document with all of our content and different tags in the middle of it, we have to close that tag at the bottom. Okay, now it looks like the opening tag, but before the word HTML, we put a /. So any tag that you see with a / will be a closing tag. Okay, the text in these tags are the same, but obviously we just add that / for to indicate that it's a closing tag. As we'll already know, sometimes a closing tag isn't required. Okay, so for example, if I want to put an image into my website and I use the image tag, whenever I open, so less than bracket and then img, which is our image tag, I then put the file name or the file path of my image inside that same tag, and I close it just by doing the more than bracket. Okay, but I don't have to do /img. Okay, so that's one example of where a closing tag isn't required. I'll tell you about a lot of the other tags that may require no closing tag as well later on in this lesson. Each HTML file must have the essential tags for it to be valid so that web browsers can understand it and display it correctly. Okay, so it really is just getting down to the basics. If you don't have your tags correct, whatever you put inside them doesn't matter because they're not going to appear on the website. Okay, so that's why we need to really focus on tags for this lesson and the various ones that are available. So here is my tag matrix. I'm going to get you to create your own. which is on the task sheet that I've provided. But I'll go through each tag with you, and a lot of them will be familiar. You will have heard them last year, but this is just to recap our knowledge of all of the HTML tags. So as I previously said, we open the HTML tag, which defines the root of an HTML document. Okay, so what this tag does is it tells your browser, I'm writing this document in HTML, so therefore when you display it on the website, display it as an HTML web page. We then have our head tag, which defines information about the document. Okay, so maybe who created it, things like that. We just put some information, but anything that is appearing in the head tag doesn't actually show on the website itself. Okay. We then have our title tag, which defines a title for the document. The title text, okay, or the title tag, is the text that appears in the browser tab. So if I go on to Facebook, for example, and I just Google Facebook, once the home page of Facebook appears, the browser tab text will say Facebook home, and that is what the title text is. So when I'm creating a website and I have my open title tag and then a closing title tag, in between that, whatever text I've put will appear in the browser tab. We then have our body tag, which defines the document's body. So that just tells the web browser everything in here is going to be the content that the user will see on the website. We then have our image tag, which tells the browser that we're going to put an image on the website. Okay, so it defines an image. We then have H1, which stands for header 1, and that defines an HTML heading. Now we can have 6 different sizes of headings. Okay, so think of if you were writing a paragraph about computers, you would have header 1 as your main heading. Okay, so that would be big and bold, and it's big, black, and bold is the automatic setting for a header 1. Okay, if we then put header 2, that'll still be bold and it'll still be black, but it'll be slightly smaller than header 1. Okay, and we can do that from heading 1 to heading 6. The only difference between those headers is that the text gets slightly smaller. We'll obviously have a lot of time to practice this when we get back to school as well, but all we need to know is that H1 to H6 just defines heading HTML headings. We then have UL. The purpose of a UL tag is to define an unordered list. Okay, and you can see underneath there we have OL, which defines an ordered list. Both of these obviously are lists that will appear on our website, and the only difference between them being ordered and unordered is that an unordered list can be anything that doesn't need to be in a certain order. It'll be represented on our website using bullet points, whereas an ordered list will start off with number 1. So if I create an ordered list on my website and I have 3 elements, I will have 1 full stop and then my first element. Underneath that I'll have 2 full stop and my next element, and so on. Whereas with an unordered list, I could maybe put 3 elements in. They don't need to be in any order, and it'll just have a bullet pointed list filled with 3 elements. Again, we'll have a look at how these appear on the website, and I'm going to attach some websites for you to look at and practice this as well after this lesson. We then have LI. So if we're creating an ordered list or an unordered list, it doesn't matter. We always have to define each list item, which is what LI stands for. Okay, so if I have an ordered list, I would do open tag OL, and then underneath that I would do LI, and that's going to tell the web browser, in this ordered list, here's my first list item. I then close the LI, and then I open another one if I'm going to put another list item underneath. Okay, so everything you see in a list, whether it be ordered or unordered, has to be represented using an LI tag in our HTML. Underneath that then we have an A tag. An A stands for anchor. Okay, and what that does is it defines a hyperlink in our HTML document. Okay, so if you were to look at a piece of HTML code and you saw an A tag, whenever that appears on the browser, to the user, it's going to appear as a hyperlink. We then have a table tag. So if I open tag with a table, this tells the web browser that I'm going to put whatever data I want to write underneath in table format. So just think of Microsoft Word or something like that. When you can draw a table, this is how it will appear in your website. Okay, so there's a lot of websites that actually use tabular formats for their content in the website, and I'll show you some examples later on as well. Obviously though, within that table, we have to have certain rows and headings. That's what TR stands for. So TR stands for a row, table row. TH stands for table heading. Okay, so if you had a table with first names and surnames, say for example, you would have the table heading that says first name. You would also have another heading that says surname, and underneath that is where we would then put our data. Okay, so John would be the first name. That's how I represent it using the open tag TD. Okay, so I would say TD and John. And the difference between table heading and table data text is that table heading, just like our HTML headings, are bold. Okay, so table headings are bold and table data is just plain text underneath. That's all of the tags that you'll need to know for the whole of the S3 HTML course. Okay, so your task today is to fill out the HTML tag matrix that I've also attached to this notification. What you'll do is copy the purpose in, or if you want to put it into your own words, that's fine. So for example, I would say the purpose of HTML tag is to declare to the browser that I'm going to write in HTML code. Okay, so that's a website that we're creating. Our open HTML tag will be our less than symbol, HTML, close the bracket, and then the close tag will be less than symbol / because we're closing that tag, HTML, and then the more than bracket. Your final task for this lesson is to pick 3 websites of your choice and write the HTML for each site title. Okay, so I've done an example here of Skyscanner. So if I go onto the website www.skyscanner.co.uk, this is what I can see in my browser. Okay, so in the browser tab, this is what we know as the HTML title. Okay, so the title here is Skyscanner, compare cheap flights, hotels, and car hire, cheap airline tickets. That is what whoever has created the Skyscanner website, that is what they've put inside the title tags in their HTML document. Okay, so you'll see on the worksheet that I've put an example of where you can find that text. All you have to do is choose 3 of your own websites that you can choose any one that you want and put in the title text that would appear within the HTML tags. Okay, and that's everything that you need to know for the first HTML lesson. Okay, so hopefully by the time you've finished watching this video and completed the task sheet, you'll be able to describe the purpose of HTML and what it stands for. You'll be able to list the different tags that we use in HTML. And finally then, after that last task, hopefully you can identify various website titles. Okay, so if there's anything that you need a hand with for this lesson, okay, or if you've got any questions about HTML in general, just add a comment onto the notification, or you can email me as well and I will help you get sorted. Okay, but as I said, I've attached the website or the task sheet to this notification for you to complete. Okay, good luck.